Shown here is a zinc rib strip which is installed on the sides, the bottom of a lower sash, as well as the sides and the top of the upper sash. The meeting or lock rails receive a different kind of weather stripping. Meeting rail hooks are nailed onto the face of the rails. When the window is closed, a thinner bottom sash hook nestles inside the thicker upper sash hook. During a previous restoration, too much wood was removed from these windows, resulting in a fair amount of rattle and draft, even when the window is locked. After installation of interlocking weather stripping, the rattle and draft are gone. Without and with interlocking weather stripping. And here is the lock rail without and with the hooks. Using a handheld planer, remove enough wood to make room for the metal weather stripping. When planing across grain, make sure you always plane in to avoid blowouts. I use a circular saw with a custom jig to cut the grooves for the weather stripping. By securing the sash to a flat work surface, the process is relatively simple. Because too much wood was removed from these sash fascias during previous work, I add some cardboard spacers to ensure that the groove is cut in the correct place. To speed things along a bit, increase the playback speed. This is the lower sash. To make room for the thinner of the two meeting rail hooks, approximately 3/8 of an inch of the bottom of the angled meeting rail face has to be removed. I use a scrap piece of metal temporarily nailed to the face to guide the planer. The upper sash meeting rail gets the thicker of the two hooks nailed to it. Again, I use a piece of scrap metal to guide the planer. In this case, I need to remove a strip of wood 3/4 of an inch high and 1/16 of an inch deep. This ensures that the rail face is flush with the inside of the hook. Make sure that the planer matches the angle of the face. The side pieces of the weather stripping for the upper sash need to be trimmed around the pulley. Here I'm working on the right-hand side strip. During installation, it's easy to keep the sash cord out of the way by using a vice grip. The side strip gets nailed in 3 places at the very bottom, just below and just above the pulley. If you use the original nut and hole way to attach the cord to the sash, the knot may interfere with the weather stripping rib. For that reason, I removed the knot, put some tape around the end of the sash cord to avoid fraying, and nail the cord to the sash, making sure I tuck the end inside the knot hole. Once the cord is attached on both sides, I put the parting bead back in place. That's the wood strip that separates the upper and lower sash. Now it's time to install the final piece of weather stripping for the upper sash. When all is in place, carefully move the sash up, making sure you engage the ribs and the grooves properly. Because the bottom weather strip sits on the angled sill, I bend the rib of the weather stripping a little bit to make sure it's plumb to properly engage with the bottom groove of the lower sash. Next, I install one side of the weather stripping temporarily. Time to test fit the bottom sash. If everything lines up properly, go ahead and nail the one side strip in place with 2 nails, one at the top and one at the bottom. Again, use a vice grip to hold the cord while it's being attached to the sash. Once the cords are attached, it's time to install the last piece of vertical weather stripping.